Hi everyone, this is a short video, probably not that short, but raw, no editing footage for my take on Cospri's Discharge. I'm going to show you gameplay first. Elemental Equilibrium, chance to avoid status elements, and Elemental Res. Let's go. Physical Res. Should not really matter. So gameplay first. So the story as to why I went Assassin here is because I've seen lots of people playing Cospris and posting guides out there. And it was all Pathfinder, Cyan, and for me who played Cospris quite a lot, I've been playing pretty much all the fake nerd versions since release. And to me at least, since Cospri was released, it was more of a mapper than a boss killer. And what do you want from a mapper? You want the crunchy crits and you want the speed. And Pathfinder or Cyan don't seem to do that well in these departments. So I went ahead and tried all those, Cyan, Pathfinder, and Assassin in Standard with the existing Cospri gear I had. And surprisingly, Assassin was the big winner just because of the sheer amount of DPS and crit you can stack on this one. And having like such high crit and DPS just through the Ascendancy allows you to go onto more utility, attack speed, res. So here, this is my take on Cospri Assassin. I have a fair bunch of viewers who are playing the build right now with much better gear than I have. My gear is pretty mediocre at best. Just to make sure we're not talking about a budget build here. This is pretty high budget. To get started at least. You have to count at least 500 chaos here just to get started. And well, this is you can scale the build to infinity if you decide so. The character is level 93, Assassin. I leveled with Bivy, probably not the fastest you could go for. Bivy is still quite fast. I'm not gonna have a leveling guide for it, but it was pretty fast, pretty easy. There's Bivy. So here you see the boss goes down pretty quickly. So is my health, but I'm gonna go back and hopefully have enough leech to recuperate. Okay, boss is down. Now let's go over in my hideout for the links and the skill tree, which I will share in the description of the video. So character, so of course with the Cospri's Malice. I went ahead and I'm going with Life Leech in the main links. So you have a very reliable leech. Counters reflect, very defensive, and it applies to both your discharges. Second would go with Discharge. This one is 21. I went ahead and decided to go without the quality. POB told me, POB is so good. POB told me that dropping the quality would only drop 1 radius. So now we are currently at 42 radius without Dying Sun, instead of 43, which is an acceptable kind of loss if you're going for a more budget-oriented build. Then increased AoE, you can switch with Control Destruction depending on the map layout. If you go for Waterways, for Gorged, the AoE is not really that necessary. You can go for more damage if you decide so. So that's the Cospri. Make sure you go with a high attack speed roll here. That's the only roll that mattered. 30%, 14% being the max. It's it's decent. For the helmet and the enchant, important. We go with the 30% chance for discharge to not consume charges. Helps a lot with procs, with single target, which is the issue of the build, but does fairly well as you just saw in the Waterways map. I went with a Hubris Circlet because initially I decided to try and play with a Soul Tether belt, but I dropped the idea. So I wanted a bit of ES, but I just did a very good helmet. I crafted it myself with Essence of Greed. Ideally, like best in slot, would probably be a Starkonja or a Lion's Belt base. Because on your multi-modded rings, you will have an open prefix, and the best thing I could think of was percent evasion. So you want to scale this percent evasion. Then Leukocyte, this is like 100% chance to hit. This is OP. This is really nice for the build. Not much defenses, a bit of life, and that's about it. But the offense you get from this shield is absolutely insane and helps you focus on other stats on your gloves, rings, and helmet. If you have T1, T2 accuracy on every other single piece of gear, you can go with a Wear Shield with spell crit, spell damage, life, res, possibly attack speed. Amulet, of course, this is Evolve's Devotion. This one will cost you it cost me about 200 C, so this is the expensive part of the build. But this is like mandatory if you want to do red maps. You can of course wear a Bisco, and it's fine up until tier 11 map, let's say. I've been doing it on stream. It's not very comfortable. What you could do is just use it as a swap. You have your Biscos or any other amulet for the map, and once you reach the map boss, you just switch it back. Make sure you do not vendor it after your map is done. For rings here, we need Arians. Just for quality of life, you do not want your shield charge to cost any mana. And Cyclone. Cyclone has a huge mana cost, and you need to reduce this as much as possible. So currently, Diamond Rings would be the best, of course. With -8 or 7 could work. And what you're really looking for here is Regal T2 or T1 life. If not, you can still get an Arian Ring, annul it until you have just the Arian mod, and multi-mod it with life, a res, percent evasion, and that should be about it. Life, res, and evasion. Yeah, that's about it. So you might want to go with 2 of these. I have a Phoenix Finger, 2-stone ring. It was tier 2. I went quite budget on this one. Then Vol's Protector, of course. Well, this is the essence of Cospri's Discharge, or in like Cast on Crit Discharge. You want to rotate your charges as fast as you can, and this one allows you to generate a huge amount of charges. So of course we want to go with this. My link setup here is Cyclone, Increased Critical Strike, Elemental Focus, Discharge, Cast on Crit, and Concentrated Effect. So the reason why I went Elemental Focus is because we can steal Shock with the Discharge that's socketed in Cospri's Malice, and do Shock with Vengtar too, and you can Shock with Volt Lightning Trap if you decide to. So you really want to use the more multipliers you can, as much as you can on the main link, because this is your single target. This is where you do all the damage. So that's my setup. Gloves, you want to go with Insanity Gloves, possibly with Dexterity. I got lucky here. I crafted those in 2 essences, and T1 Dexterity hit. You craft life, a res. I exalted 6% fire res. It's not too big of a deal, but I went with it. This is what Assassin allows us to do to maximize our attack speed and utility. And Insanity Gloves are amazing for this. 16% more attack speed is insane. And my link setup here is Shield Charge, 45, faster attacks, and increased critical strike. So you have very reliable Shield Charge crit and into Discharge crit. For a belt, alright, this has raised some questions. I decided to go with a rare belt with life, res, and flash charge used. Because to me the new belt, Flow Untethered, is not justified this use. The cost of opportunity of this belt is absolutely huge. You lose pretty much 140 flat life, res, flash charge used, for just a tiny bit of reduction of your cooldown, which helps a lot against bosses, but it's not necessary if you go for mapping. This is a mapping build, remember. So I went with this. This is very Headhunter friendly. If you have a Headhunter, it bypasses the need for Dex on gloves, and it's gonna feel amazing. Headhunter just feels amazing, you know it. So that's my choice for belt. Boots, Inya's Epiphany, new item for 2.0. Absolutely insane. I would recommend all day over Death's Door. It makes your crit, it makes your charges generation extremely reliable, especially as an assassin. In this boost, this is where I use like my general setup. So I have Flame Dash, Volt Haste, Summon Lightning Golem, and Increased Duration. You might want to remove Flame Dash here for Volt Lightning Trap. It's fine. Then for auras, the setup is Herald of Ice, Enlighten, Purity of Lightning, Purity of Fire. Both purities super important to mitigate Reflect. It also helps a lot with mapping and with fire damage and lightning damage in your map. I have a Cast Wind Damage Taken setup, of course, with Immortal Call, Cast Wind Damage Taken, and Elemental Weakness. So here you're pretty much free to go whatever you want to go with. I went with Elemental Weakness to have this extra juice against bosses whenever I get hit, as we already have a lot of leech, and mana is not an issue. Immortal Call, this goes without saying, this is pretty cool. Then Jewel. So this is a skill tree, of course I'm going to share it. As far as jewels go, you want an intuitive leap here for this part. This has been, this is an habit for all of you who've played Cospris or Cast on Crit before. You need this thing. You have to get it. Then for jewels, you're looking for life, resistances if you need, Crit multi, so any element, any spell is amazing. Attack speed if you feel like your damage is enough. Attack speed with swords, attack speed while holding a shield, attack speed with one-handed weapon is great. Also, I suggest that you use one jewel, so it can only roll on Viridian. With +2 mana gain for each enemy hit by your attacks, helps a lot with Cyclone for single target, so you never run out of mana. Even on maps with 60% regen, you could do no regen maps. I would definitely do not suggest it. It's very uncomfortable since we lost the mana leech from Vingtar in 3.0. And I think that's about it. Oh, Pantheon. So Pantheon here I went with fully upgraded Soul of Aracali because initially I was running without Sulfur Flask of grounding. I was running without grinding and I just felt like the shock mitigation here might be enough, but it's not. I still had the occasional rip because you were constantly shocked. And I decided to remove Dying Sun and go with a Sulfur Flask with grounding, give you damage, give you shock removal and immunity, which is amazing. Here you have the choice. I went with Soul of Yogol. I really recommend this one. You cannot really dodge it. Reflect is a huge issue, and this helps a lot. Along with Purities and Fortify, this helps a lot. Flask, I go with a Diamond. Of course, Vingtar Penetration, a Silver Flask, and a Quicksilver Flask of Warding. So I didn't go with the Alchemist Flask of Adrenaline because I need this curse removal, especially now that it worked with map mods. So I can roll, it makes it much easier to roll maps, LA Weakness, Vulnerability, Amphible, Temp Chain. It's not going to be an issue if you have a Warding Flask, and you don't have much room here with a Flask, so that's the setup. Some of my friends have been removing Purity of Fire and changed the setup so you could use Haste instead and reach absolutely absurd speed. That's a good idea. I haven't done it because I wanted to have like a well-balanced and well-rounded build and not die. I absolutely hate dying. Life-wise, at level 93, we are at 6.1k, 900 ES. This build scales a lot with levels. If you can get, the more levels you can get, the better. What did we miss? Leveling, I leveled with BV. You could level with EK, with Traps, with Firestorm, with anything that you're comfortable with as a caster. As long as you follow kind of this path, starting Elemental, getting Life, going up here, hopping for the crit. You can grab this Life here early, Life here, boom, boom. So it's a very classic caster skill tree. So you can adapt this to anything. Ascendancy-wise, we're going a full crit route with Deadly Infusion, Unstable Infusion, Assassinate, and Ambush. So the order would be, Unstable, Deadly, then Ambush, and Assassinate. I've tried Guardians and Shaper with it. Most Guardians were easy, but Cyclone requires you to be impeccable on your positioning. And also, you really have to only aim, like your mouse cursor has to be on your feet at all time. And in stressful situations like where you have to dodge, lots of Shaper Balls, lots of damage, it can be quite stressful. So you might then want to switch to Blade Fury instead of Cyclone and just sidestep, Blade Fury, sidestep, Blade Fury helps a lot. That's for gameplay. The reason why I record this video kind of in a hurry, no editing, raw, is because I need money to fund another character. And I'm just going to sell this gear because I already have 4 characters fully geared and I need money. I'm poor. So I think that's about it. If you have any question, you can join my Twitch. I stream daily. It's Somayd _ or you can join my Discord and ask any question or in comments in this video. Anyways, thanks for watching and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Cheers.